we get a little momentum, we can get both of them looked at rather than have two separate committees operating at the same time. So I think we've got a good group here. Jim's offered to facilitate the meetings. We're looking at this Monday, the second Monday of every month, and just might slow down a little in the summer, but we're going to try and stay on track and come up with some recommendations. I think it's going to be at least a 1-year process, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll surprise ourselves and do it even in less time. But it's an opportunity to really do a thorough review of both documents. So, Jim?
Yep, great. So I'm going to quickly just bring up the agenda for today. It was what I just had up there. Just so everyone can see what we're tasked at tonight. This is the kickoff meeting, as Dennis mentioned. You know, tonight's not meant to be a robust meeting. I think it's more of just get our feet wet, introduce ourselves, understand the process, and then take a number of things home to start thinking about our charter and bylaws. So tonight, I thought we could just quickly go around the room and on Zoom for introductions. Those on Zoom, I can just call out, and then if you don't mind just unmuting and introducing yourself so everyone is on the same page. Then we'll just quickly go through, you know, our process and the proposed schedule. From there, just a high-level overview of the charter and bylaws. I sent out the links in the email. If you need a hard copy, we have Larry was nice enough to print a number of copies, so we have those ready for you at the town clerk's office. And then we have to elect our chairman, vice chairman, and if we could add secretary to that as well. You know, think about it, not everyone jump at once, but we'll need a couple volunteers there. And then I went ahead and put that next meeting date. So right now, as long as it works for everyone, we're still planning on meeting once a month, the second Monday evening of the month. You know, as time allows, we may ramp up or slow down depending on everyone's schedule, vacations. Once we're COVID free, I'm sure a lot of folks are going to want to jump to the beach or whatever it may be. So, if we could do a quick round of introductions, I guess we'll start with the folks here in the room, and then I'll kick it over to the folks on the screen. Jim Cutford, town planner here. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions throughout this whole process. Never hesitate, as most of you guys know, never hesitate to give me a call or reach out via email. Oh, yeah, right.
I'm blocked out, but I'm here.
Joyce Leonard. Kelly Grant.
Joe Calamati.
Larry Sposato.
And then Don, you mind introducing?
Don Martinez.
And Bill?
We read his lips.
That's Bill O'Connell, the
Bill.
planning board. And then Brian?
Bill O'Connell.
There we go.
Brian Salisbury from the Planning Board and Zoning Board.
Jim?
2 nights are always fun, but if we're going to do 2 right in April, then we don't have to.
Jen Altamonte from...
Sometimes it sounds like Jim, Jen Altamonte.
Sorry, the mask, you know. And then we have Beth, who's joining us. I see Michael Connor on the line. Mary McKinnon, our CFO, who I'm sure will bug several times through this process. And John Allen, the chairman of the Finance Committee. So let me move from agenda real quick and bring up the review process. So this process is guided by our charter. So you're going to get used to that charter. So in the print copy here, we added nice 2 sections: our charter, our general bylaws, and then our zoning bylaws are a separate entity that we may dabble in a little bit here, but for right now, we're focused on the charter and our general bylaws. Both of those are guided by the charter itself. So Article 7, Section 7-1 is the charter review, and -2 for the bylaw review. And you'll see in there that's how this makeup of this board has come to be. All of us play a role throughout the community, and you are tasked at assisting in updating the charter and bylaws based on your roles and your knowledge. And we're going to ask for you to go back to your groups throughout the process, whether it's the school committee or the finance committee or any other group that you're associated with, and discuss with them the charter and bylaws, and if they have any recommendations. You know, I know from my experience, at least working with Bill and Brian on the planning board and zoning board, there's a number of times we come across a bylaw that we scratch our heads on and say, you know, how did that come to be, or how can that be, you know, bettered? And so now's the time to do that. So, you know, there might be something in the charter. I know, I'm sure Beth has a number of things from the HR side that she would love to change. And so we'll be, you know, certainly inviting her to future meetings as well as Mary and others. So that's essentially why we're here and really what we're tasked to do. This does not need to be a rush process. Many of you provided input and helped out on the master plan committee, which just wrapped up. You guys know that, you know, we looked at it as a year-long process, and, you know, as it developed, it took upon, you know, a little bit longer process, but I think it was a very thorough and robust process, and hopefully here we can do the same. The charter, you know, the charter is pretty straightforward, to be honest with you, and you guys, the town has amended it previously and as recently as 2013. So there might be not a whole lot to change in the charter, but, you know, you never know. With enough of us looking at it, maybe there's some best practices and other things that we come across. The general bylaws get a little more nuanced, and that may take a little bit more time. And, you know, there may be some other things that we see from around the state that are, you know, things that we want to add into these bylaws. So the process and the schedule, you know, it's going to be kind of an evolving situation. As Dennis mentioned, you know, it may be as little as a year, it may be a little bit more, you know, timing wise, you know, in playing it out, I really think right now, once a month is a really good process, and that we can go back, look at this and provide really solid input. This town meeting coming up in the fall, so not the spring town meeting, but the fall town meeting, as we all know, since we're all part of this process, you know, really what we're talking about is an August deadline if we're talking about fall town meeting. And so we can you know, gauge where we are in August and see if there's any low-hanging fruit that we want to bring to the table. But it's going to be an evolving conversation that may take some more time than that. Let's see here. So before I get too into the weeds here, any questions, concerns, questions of why the heck am I here still, all that stuff? No? Excellent. All right, so I'm gonna just pull up the charter and bylaws real quick. So I'll be sharing my screen. So I sent out these links here. So let's see, they pop up there, there. All right, so on the town's website, the easiest way to get to these. It is a little confusing in my opinion, so you're certainly welcome to pick up, again, the printed copy. I think I work better off print. I like to scribble in the sides and all that. But, you know, the links are here and they're handy for anybody looking to go see what we're talking about here. So the charter itself, you know, again, it's pretty straightforward. It's actually, you know, incredibly detailed when you take time to take a look at it. And a lot of this, you know, is defined by Mass General Law too. So not a lot's going to change in terms of how the town's incorporated, unless, you know, that's a big nut to take on, to, you know, changing forms of government and stuff like that. So I don't know if that would get down that line, but you know, we're looking at different ways in terms of the legislature branch, the town meeting, presiding officers. We'll get into all these, but I just wanted to give you guys a sense of what we're going to be looking at here. We're going to be bringing in many elected officials. You know, we already have many of them represented here, which is helpful start. We'll skip right over Article 4 since Dennis is here. We got to Article 5.
We're going to spend most of our time on that article, by the way.
And then, so we move into just how the town's organized, and, you know, what are the day-to-day activities. And so we'll be bringing in different departments for that to see, I know I'm talking with Tim Icardi from Inspection Services, and a few things that you would certainly want to bring to the table. And then the financial process, again, we'll be bringing Mary in to discuss that with us. You know, maybe we learn a few things, maybe there's a few things we could better in this process. So that's you know, straightforward. That's the charter itself. Let me go back. The next section is the bylaws. And again, this is the general bylaws, so it's a little bit different for those who've dealt with this quite a bit. I don't know why I'm not, there we go. Ordinances. So these are things that, you know, again, all the different departments and boards and committees deal with throughout the day-to-day. This is our go-to whenever we get, you know, random questions about how many dogs can be cited at one location, or where can the ice cream truck vendors go, and all those very random things. This is where our go-to, and so this is an opportunity to kind of look at the ins and outs and see if there's any opportunity to improve upon it. You know, some things that maybe we sit there and shake our heads and say that, you know, this bylaw just simply isn't working, or it's not hitting what the intention was, so maybe we need to adjust it. There's certainly, you know, many things we can do there. And then lastly, if we get to it, you know, we could take a look at some of the zoning. It's not working. You know, some of the zoning, this is a very robust and intricate section, so we probably won't spend too much time, and for some reason it's not loading right now, so I'll have to come back to this. But there are certainly a few things that I would love to chat with the committee on and see if we can move a few things forward. Let's see. So that's big picture. You know, it's going to be a little bit of a lengthy process. Hopefully you hang in there, and just once a month. I promise you, not a ton of homework. You know, I'm hoping that between my office and working with Dennis, we'll be able to take on much of the homework and provide you with, you know, good materials to work off of from month to month, meeting to meeting. And we'll get a number of things that will get to town meeting. So ultimately, the end product is a number of changes, perhaps, to the charter and the bylaws that will ultimately bring to town meeting and let the voters decide. So again, that might be strategic. Again, as you know, with town meeting, you know, there could be things where we decide, you know what, this is too much to change at once, or, you know, or maybe we only had one or two small things to change, and we say, well, let's just hold off and wait a little while. So we need to be strategic about that, certainly, and we can that conversation will certainly evolve. You know, one example that I would bring up that in the charter, for instance, you know, this is kind of a thing I know the select board has discussed, is changing the name from Board of Selectmen to Select Board. And so now's the time. This is one that's, you know, the charter's riddled with Board of Selectmen. So that would be, for instance, of a change that we would do in the charter, and then subsequently in each of our other documents to change it to Select Board. And ultimately it would have to go to town meeting, and we would certainly have town council assist us in making sure that we refine that change. But you know, that's just a for instance example of what we would do to, you know, that's one example there. Let's see. So that's you know, big picture, that's what we're looking to do here. It's awesome that you guys are willing to participate and provide guidance to us and get us through the process. Is there any questions at all right now? Anything?
Jim, I have one question.
Yeah, sure, Bill.
As we move forward on this, we're going to make changes, obviously. Is anyone keeping like a master document of like redlining things we want to take out, adding things we want to put in? So we have a moving document after every meeting?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bill. And yes, that's exactly how I envision it in my head is, you know, as we start developing this, the charter and the general bylaws are, just think of it as a Word document, and I will hold that Word document, and each month I'll be asking for the committee to be looking at different sections of this and suggesting edits. And I'll take in all those edits, and exactly right, redline it or put comments aside and provide it back to you. So we have a kind of evolving document that shows, existing conditions and what are the suggested changes. And each meeting will take those suggested changes and have a robust conversation about it to decide whether or not it makes sense to move it forward, or if it's, put it to the side for now, or what have you.
Hey, Jim, it's Don. I think we should try to consider an online platform for making those live changes, like Google Docs or something along those lines, where there's an online platform. So, for example, if Bill O'Connell's making some changes, some red lines or comments, I'm editing and changing the same document, so we're not constantly doing version control. So there's ways to do that. I use it every day. It works great. There's different technologies out there, but we probably want the cheapest one. But Google Docs might be a way to do this.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion, Don. I can definitely set up a Google Doc, not a problem.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So from there, I got the dreaded elect the chair, vice chair, and secretary. Is there anyone who's interested in doing the role of chairman?
Jim, I'll throw my name in the hat. I'd like to
Thank
do
you, Don.
this.
Anybody either want to
Well,
or
nominate Brian.
nominate Brian? Brian, do you want to?
If Don wants to do it, that's fine. I'm happy to do it too. Excuse me.
No, I'd like to do it if Brian doesn't mind, and if I can't fulfill my duties, then there'll be a vice chair, correct?
Yeah, so we could have Don as chair, Brian as vice. Is there any second to that?
I'll second that.
All right, I guess for now, all in favor, and then I'll hand it off to Don.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Don, you're the chairman. Brian, thank you both for stepping up. Secretary, really, all it involves is, we'll have minutes for you to take a peek at and approve and suggest edits. Is there anybody willing to fill that role?
I'll do that again if you want.
That was.
That deserves a big thank you.
Yes. All in favor? Anybody else?
Quick.
Anybody else? Anybody else? No? All in favor? All right, Kelly, the job's yours.
Excellent, thank you guys. Well, that's
Thank
painless.
you.
Except for Kelly.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. All right, excellent. So this that's the nuts and bolts of it. We're hoping by the next meeting, I'll set up that Google Doc of the charter and the general bylaws. I'll have that sent out to everybody so they have access to it. I think technically you gotta have a Gmail account, but they're free to set up. So, if you have trouble, just reach out. I'm happy to help you set up that. And then, at the next meeting, if we could just start thinking about, either groups we want to bring in, department heads, and sections you want to hone in on. And then I can start developing, a schedule of folks to come in and discuss these sections with us.
So
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Will we address this meeting, we're gonna go over these sections, or is it gonna be interest driven, or what do you think?
Well, I think, it's up to the group, but I think at first it's gonna be starting from the top and going down. But if, there's sections that are, of no interest of changing, then we skip over them, you kind of check the box that we've looked at them. And as you hit another section, you say, okay, stop, this is something I would really like to dive into deeper. can we come back and invite, Don DiMartino to it or something like that? And if, and we could have a conversation about that one or continue on. I think at least going through both of these documents, at least once, just each section, and just getting a verified, I'm good with that section. Let's move on. That's how I had it envisioned, but this is easily amenable to. We can mold it however the committee likes.
I think that
Jim,
method.
so you're
that's
thinking we should
consistent.
go through the charter first and then go into the bylaws? Or as you say, from the top, start with the charter first and then move its way down?
Yeah, I think that makes sense because the charter really guides us. It's the overall overarching document that guides the town. So I think starting from the top as it's meaning the start of the charter and working our way through, I think makes sense.
Okay.
Jim, I think being transparent to the community is going to be very critical. I don't think they need to see the Word document that we work on ongoing, but I think there should be a platform out there for the general public to look at our minutes so they can see what items we are discussing and reviewed, not the specifics, but just generalities. So people will not have the opportunity to say they never knew anything about it. And then maybe periodically have something in the Bellingham bulletin on the progress that we're making.
Yep. So what I could do is certainly set up a tab on the website for, a temporary tab for the Charter and Bylaw Review Committee, and have maybe it's just a PDF of our document that we're looking at this coming meeting and the minutes and agendas posted certainly.
I think that'd be great.
All right. Does anybody else have anything for this evening?
Jim and I will work on an agenda and get that out with the first meeting anyway, so we're ready to go with that first meeting. So we'll sit with Dawn and Brian and we can put that together and be ready to go.
Perfect. Okay.
Don, thank you for being chair.
You're welcome.
Likewise, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, well, that fulfills my end of things. Don, I don't know if you want to formally adjourn, if no other questions.
Jim, I heard that this meeting was catered.
It is, you missed it. Everyone's had something here.
Is there any other further discussion, questions? Hearing none, seeing none, I make a motion to close the meeting at 7:25 PM.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. All right, we'll see everybody on, was it the 12th of April, 7 PM? On Prem or via Zoom.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty,
Thank you.
Thank you.
take care.